This podcast is part of the Podcast Your Scene Network. Visit us at www.podcastyourscene.com.
You know, the local media has an agenda that they're going to serve. I don't know who's in charge of it or what it is, if it's like a headless monster.
Why? This is a question.
Walking backwards.
Yeah.
Something sacred.
I don't know the names of the Creep songs. Those are
Running in
CDs
circles.
You just pop in and let play.
Sea of Glass.
The flight and the fall.
I love Ozzy. I think he's the true definition of a rock star.
So get about by your speakers.
Anybody else have any interesting stories they don't want from the show?
This is Doug from After the Fall. Hey, this is John Lane from the thriving metropolis of Leechburg, Pennsylvania.
The Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock that Pennsylvania has to offer.
Let's go.
Hey, it's Bill, and you're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer right here on PARockshow.com, MegaRockRadio.net, and 107.1 FM KFJD in St. Louis, Missouri, RooterRadio.com on the beaches of San Diego, California, OldiesXL.com in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, BuildScene.com/radio right here in the thriving metropolis of Leechburg, Pennsylvania, and music from the 412.com live on Fire TV and Roku for the first time tonight. This is episode number 656 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. With me tonight is Davy Williamson. What's up, Davy?
How's it going, Bill? Good to see you again.
You as well. I'm not 100% sure that we're live on the Roku right now, but we're connected. I just don't see us yet.
All right. I get it.
But
So
what have you been up to since we last chatted?
a lot. Yeah, obviously, we had the whole COVID thing happening during the same time that we were talked last, and we're kind of talking about the ability to be able to tour and to try to make some money as a musician all over the country, with it being everything shut down and mask mandates, this and that. But either way, things have been lifted, and I've been able to get back out on the road here and there, just starting to really start kicking it up big again. Most of my day today even was spent just doing booking, setting things up. Not sure if I had, last we spoke, if I had already been brought into the Grammy world, but I have that coming up this weekend as well, this coming Sunday. And I'm just happy to be able to get back into the music and playing the music and starting to write and hopefully get some new singles out here over the next month or two. I'm pretty excited about that. Songs have been written, haven't been completed yet, but we're working towards that, and that's important.
So if I remember correctly, you do a lot of writing.
I do. Yeah, I do. Because I do all the different instruments in the recording process. So it's writing the songs, writing the drum parts, writing the bass parts, the lead guitar parts, the encapsulates everything. And that's where where I spend most of my time whenever I get rolling again, and really get digging in. I'm going to do singles from here on out, it looks like, just because of the way that the payouts are going from the label support or from management support. Nobody wants to really push albums anymore. I'm a big fan of albums. I wish that was what it would go back to. They just seem to be really going after these singles. Then again, you see places, record shops, like Background Records, like one of the shirts that I'm wearing right now, who also, Sean Atkins, helped record my last album with me out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Awesome guy. He sells records, and I mean, they're crushing it. So obviously somebody or people are starting to go back to listening to records. Unfortunately, I don't think that the music industry is keeping up with that or paying attention that that's where people want things to go versus what they're hand feeding them.
So it looks like for anyone who's tuned in, if you are at the website that Davey and I shared, you are seeing us on the Music from the 412 stream, but it looks like the Roku is not picking it up. So that's something I got to look into later. But so you have some fans popping up in our chat here.
Woohoo, look at that. Hamilton, what's up, buddy?
And
Good to see you. Hey, Jen, what's happening? Good stuff. Good to see you guys.
so they appear to be watching on Facebook, which definitely is working.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
So I'm going to start out. Did I ask you the pizza question?
I don't believe so, but yes, I love pizza.
Okay, good. So what is the best pizza that you've ever had because you're a musician? So you have to find a way to link it to your music career. Were you recording? Were you at a show? Were you on your way to or from a show? Were you at somebody else's show?
I hate this question just because if people that are listening are all waiting to see what I'm going to say. And then, obviously, just being majority Pittsburgh. Oh, boy, that's a tough one. You're going to stick me like that, aren't you?
Well,
How about this? I'll go a different direction.
People travel. You can go anywhere.
I'm gonna stick with my hometown. They in Wilmington, North Carolina, a place called I Love New York Pizza makes a pizza called Rio Rancho, and it's ranch on the bottom, cheese, tomato, and bacon. And to me, that's think about every time I'm coming back and getting some of that. But I don't like Chicago style pizza. The first time I ever showed up to Chicago to play shows years ago, me and a buddy of mine, Waylon Henson, asked to we'd gone to try Chicago style pizza. We didn't really know what it was, but we were at a bar drinking old style beer is the beer that they have there. So as soon as we pull up, I was like, well, I got to get some of this Chicago style pizza. They make the pizza, and it turns out they just stuck it in a microwave and burnt the shit out of it. And it was just like a Mr. Peace pizza. And I was like, if that's Chicago style pizza, I'll never try it again. Later years, I found out that's not what that means. But that was my initial, I hate their pizza. And that went on for a few years before I realized that they actually do make a killer pizza as well.
I actually had a Chicago style pizza this weekend.
Oh, okay. How'd you pull that off?
Well, there's a pizza shop around the corner called Leechburg Pizza Company that started making them.
Okay.
Not as good as the pizza I had in Chicago. Not terrible. I would order it again, but not as good.
Careful, they're right up the road. They could be listening.
They might be. Listen, I order there a lot, so.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Well.
There's their free advertising. Check out Leechburg Pizza Company.
Okay, there you go. Bring them on in.
And
I would love to try their pizza. If they could ship it to me. Or maybe I'll catch them when I'm back up that way.
So, if you were on tour and I was driving your tour bus, what music would I be playing in between tour stops?
Hamilton's going to love this answer. Probably the oldies station.
Well, that's an excellent answer because Oldies XL in Philadelphia that plays the show is an oldies channel.
Okay, yeah, well there you have it. So I like to listen to stuff that's completely different than what I play, or it's Culture Club. And you know what? I recently saw Culture Club in concert here in my hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina. And I can't believe that Hamilton's bringing this up to put me on the spot like this. But yes, it may be the best concert that I've seen in a really, really long time. And I get it. Incredible musicians. It's Boy George, so it's hilarious. But I mean, it was incredible from the beginning to the end. So I can't say a single bad thing about them. But yeah, I guess so, Hamilton. I would make Bill, if he was driving the tour bus, throw some Culture Club on.
Comma.
He's like, no, maybe not.
I was actually singing really quietly because nobody wants to hear that.
Okay. Yeah. I like to change it up. so that when I'm doing my thing, I'm not influenced by a lot of the hard rock bands that are going on. Don't get me wrong, I listen to it and I support it. But when you're on tour and if you're driving the tour bus, the last thing I want to do is hear myself at all. So please don't ever do that to me. And then two, anything just with the same style of sound in my ears, because it's almost like cleansing the palate of, but for your ears. So clearing kind of the way that you listen to things. And an old engineer of mine, he's not an old engineer of mine, I guess he did help with the last album too, Steve Hardy. He taught me to go back and listen to Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart. And he would this was a long time ago, he told me this. He probably doesn't even remember telling me this, but I stuck to it and I've never forgotten because it does help. It's such a clean recording. It readjusts my ears to be able to hear different things and different production values within a song. And I think that helps me write and build new songs for myself.
Cool.
So, Culture Club and Yes on the tour bus.
So Kiss has played the Great White Sharks in a bay in Australia. Metallica has played in Antarctica. What non-standard venue would you like to perform at?
But I like to perform at or I have performed at?
Oh, how about both?
I played in, let me think of this weird. There's a couple weird ones. I've played in a strip club. That was weird. I've also played in a travel lodge in Canada. Kind of
like a hotel?
Punk rock kind of setting. Yeah, a hotel, yeah. But you got to remember, this is in the middle of nowhere, Canada. So it wasn't like there was at a bar area. It was just a hotel lobby. I thought that was pretty strange. But the strip club was a weird one too. But I don't know about the Metallica or the singing with the Seals or any of that stuff or whatever you're saying.
Sharks.
Sharks.
Were they performing while you were performing?
Yes. I mean, it was the music for them. Yeah.
Huh.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Did they get a heads up on what you were playing ahead of time, or did they just have to?
They just knew that I was. They knew that I was a rock and roll style band, and I don't know. They just went with it, and I knew a guy who was the manager or something somewhere, and he had seen me perform before, so he just told him just to go ahead and make it happen. It wasn't a long set; it was like 45 minutes, but it was different.
Did you get tipped?
And you know what? I can't remember. It's been so long, but I don't believe so. You would think so.
I have so many questions that I'm not going to ask.
Hit me with it. Was I wearing a thong or anything? No, I was just normal. Yeah, I know.
What was the after show like? I mean, because I feel like that's what people pictured the after show to be, and that was the performance.
Right. It was interesting, but it was back then. Everybody was so worried about their gear and getting to the next shows because we were on the hustle a whole lot harder. So we were like, oh, we got to hurry up and get all of our gear loaded up. We got to hurry up and get out of here. Of course, then it's they take you to the VIP area, which anybody who's ever been in a place like that knows that the VIP area is just nowhere that different. You're in fact a little bit further away in chairs, and they're wanting to bring you, bottle service and all this kind of thing. But I've never been a big fan of strip clubs or anything like that. To me, it's like going to Burger King, ordering your food at the first window and driving past the second. So
That's an interesting take on it.
Right.
How do you get booked there?
It was like I said, it was just it was a guy that I knew that had seen me play. He asked me if he could book me somewhere. I didn't think anything of it. He gave me the address and the budget for it. Asked me if I was bringing my son. I said that was fine. Of course, you pull up to the venue. You realize it's not really a venue, that it's a strip club. Is there a stage? He wasn't lying about that. There was a stage. I just happened to not be on it. So, which I can tell you some other stories, but we leave those out.
Well, normally I would ask
As a
about
band, let's call it.
Normally I would ask about embarrassing moments, but I don't know if you can
Top that? No.
Yeah.
I'd have to put some thought into it. Yeah.
Now, did that happen before our last interview, or
No. This was ages ago, man. Oh, this was a long time. When I was first getting started, back when I didn't ask questions about where the venue was or what the venue was. I just was happy to have a show that paid money. So I showed up to wherever they told me. If it was somebody's backyard, we were there. If it was the strip clubs, that's just where you went. We didn't, back then you didn't have management. You didn't have booking agents and people who looked out for things like that. It was just kind of who you knew, and you bounced around to wherever they told you to go, and whoever could help you next and point you in the next town or to the next buddy who will throw some cash at you to keep you moving. So we're talking a lot of years ago. So,
and finding someone's floor to sleep on, and
all
that point of the
that point of that point, not the posh part now where it's hotels and flights and all that. Back when it was your van was breaking down every 3 gigs, and you were all sleeping in it, eating Chef Boyardee.
Oh man,
the grind, yeah, that was the tough part.
So being someone who has been on tour, what was your favorite place to play? Or you can name a few. We don't want to we don't want anybody to blackball you.
I played a show not too many years back with a band called Valiant Thor. And in fact, this is Pittsburgh that we played at a place called the Smiling Moose. And
I was just there last week.
Were you?
I was.
Yeah. Scarfo. You know Scarfo?
I have not met him.
Yeah, he great guy. He always took care of us. Jesus, thank God, because it gets cold up there. And Scarfo would look out for us. We played a show with Valiant Thor there. It's a really small room, but it was completely packed, and we had a blast.
You were upstairs?
I didn't even know that there was an upstairs. We were both
downstairs. Upstairs. They haven't used the upstairs, I've been told, for a while, but the night I was there, we were upstairs.
Really?
And, yeah.
Huh.
And it's like in a closed stairwell. There's a wall on both sides, and they're really steep. And I'm glad I didn't have to carry anything but my camera bag on my back.
Next door to the Rex Theater, right?
Yeah.
Same spot? Yeah. Okay.
Although that's now called Foxtel, but yes.
Okay, it's Foxtel. Okay, cool. Yeah, it shows you how long it's been since I was up that way. But that was one of my favorite shows. That one was a blast because it was one of the first times where groups of friends were on separate tours, but we were able to put them together. And then we were all of us landed in Pittsburgh to do the show together. And so you hadn't seen anybody for a few months on the road, and all of a sudden it was like all your best buddies, and you're all drinking and shit, and you're in Pittsburgh, and we're having a good time. So it was a blast, man. It really was. A good buddy of mine, Mark Maxwell, at that time was playing with him, and he's a ripper, man. All those guys, Herbie kills it. Yeah, those guys are real.
Have you come through the Fort Pitt tunnels and seen the city? Have you done that part of it? Because
man, I
on the wrong side.
Yeah, yes, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have. I go to so many different places all the time. It's hard to kind of remember until I'm back in the city. Whereas like tomorrow I'll be in Denver. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina right now. But I'll almost forget how to get around till I land. And then I go, oh, I know where I'm at now. And it all kind of comes back to me. Then of course you have, I've completely forgotten what LA is like. I've kind of stayed out of California because they had even stricter guidelines than anybody else about the COVID stuff. But it's been, Christ, man, probably, well, maybe almost 4 years since I was there last, and I was in Lake Tahoe when I was there. So that's I think it's like 4 years ago, but I've completely forgotten how to get around any of that. So Pittsburgh's going to be the same way when I get back. It's been a minute now. I just did pass through Pittsburgh. However, I was playing a fair north of the city. It's a big fair. I wish I could remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I had been on the road for a little while at that point, and it all kind of starts to blur. Everything's the same thing all of a sudden. You just put one foot in front of the next and hope your voice keeps working when you're singing. So,
what is the one thing that has to go with you when you're on tour? The most important thing, like you would turn around and go back to get it if you didn't have it.
how far out of town are we before I have to turn around to get it?
I don't know. or someone has to bring it to you if you're too far out.
It's a tough one. Let me look back at all the instruments here for a second. It's going to be my microphone. Bring my own microphone. I can't. Traveling like I do, playing music and going around. Sometimes I don't mind it. It depends on how many drinks I guess I've had. But most of the time, I always want my own microphone because if you get out on the road and you're leaving to go on tour and you're using all the house mics, well, Hamilton's right too. Rumble Mints. I'm a big Rumble Mints fan, but I can get that everywhere, Hamilton. It doesn't end in Wilmington. I have to have my own mic, personal mic, everywhere, all the venues that I go. And he's right, a little bit of Rumble Mints to go with it. Always on hand.
So before we go too much further, we are gonna take a quick break and listen to some music from Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania scenes, and we'll be right back with Davey. For those of you watching live for the first time, you don't actually get to hear that music right now, but I am gonna play a commercial for you, and we'll be right back. And we are back with Davey. That was a.
I got to backtrack for a second. I want to jump in here because I don't know where I messed this up. Favorite place to play had to have been currently would have been Sturgis. So I just played in Sturgis 2 nights, and it was awesome. Thanks, John, for reminding me of that. I see you.
Did you get a text? Was that?
I got a I have people who remind me like what's going on because I can't seem to remember anything. So
I know how that goes. I was at Music from the 412 studio last Monday, and Rocky, who owns Music from the 412, we were doing something out in the studio area, and I went to go back into the control room, and I told him I'd search it. It's like 15 feet, and I walked in the control room, turned back, walked back out, and went, "Hey, Rocky, what did I say I was searching?" It's just not, it doesn't stick anymore.
yeah. I don't know what happened, but it's staying so busy and always trying to figure out what I'm doing next or where I'm headed next. People ask me all the time, where were you last month? And I'm like, man, I don't have a clue. I don't know where I was last month. It's like, man, let me check my schedule. Luckily, I have a Google Calendar working for me, so it's helping.
What would you... I'm going to give you the official build to scene question, which I know I asked you last time, but we'll see if you have a different answer. Okay. Who is your Dave Grohl? In other words, who do you want to go up on stage with and perform one of their originals. And the reason I know that I asked you this question is because we had a conversation about you knowing somebody that might be able to get a hold of him.
Yep, for you. Yeah, with Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that conversation. Man, I think probably last time it would have been, and correct me if I'm wrong, did I say Joey Cape?
I honestly don't remember.
This would have been good for you to remember and then question me to see.
I just got done telling you I couldn't remember 15 feet away.
Exactly, right? Okay, yeah, exactly. I love Joey Cape. I would love to be that's somebody that I would like to have in the studio with me, working with me, building songs and doing the recording process. Just curious how he goes about it. If God, it's such a tough question to get right. Past, present, or future, right?
It can be any.
Go ahead, Hamilton. I know you're dying to chime in on this.
He's got nothing for you so far.
Nothing so far. Okay. I would, man, it would be tough. Probably Dave Grohl himself, to be honest. I mean, look at all the bands that he's played with. Look at just how he's put so many things together. That, or even if there would have ever been a chance, it would have been with Taylor Hawkins. I was just earlier thinking about. I was joking around with a buddy of mine in California, and we were singing Alanis Morissette songs. Whereas a lot of people don't realize that Taylor Hawkins was the drummer for Alanis Morissette, and so you think that he does all these things, and nobody notices him. He joins Dave Grohl as his drummer, which is crazy, and then Dave Grohl moving over, and obviously the talent level there's got to be through the roof. So I'd love to be in somewhere around that group, or the guys from Queens of the Stone Age would be a good one. That's tough for me, man. That's because I can go all over the map here, and whether it be vocally or drums or guitar, guitar work, I would probably love to sit around Reb Beach, whom I have met and talked to.
There is a Pittsburgh name.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking. Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. I met him in an Atlanta airport, and we were sitting down, just kind of bullshitting, drinking some beers. We both were at a layover, and we got to talking and this and that. And I said, "Sure, man, come on, let's get some. I'll jump in on the new Winger album for rhythm guitar." We had that conversation, but nothing ever came of it. And still a cool guy. And I mean, God, talk about a monster guitar player. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that outside of guys that are already passed.
I'm pretty sure that he's coming to In Stuff Music, which is a local music store. I wish I could remember the dates. I actually have a commercial for them queued up in my video queue for tonight too.
Well, if there might be a chance there where me and Reb get together, fly in and meet up at the store, play, do something together, duo, or trio, me, him, and Kip Winger all together. Yeah, I doubt that, but we'll see. And let's not forget why he was in Whitesnake too, right? So
yes,
right. So even though he's still working on the Winger stuff. In fact, he released a solo album. I did get that from him. He sent that over, so that was cool. It was cool to check out as well. I hope that's been successful for him.
That poor band got royally screwed by Beavis and Butthead.
Didn't they?
Yes.
Well, Beavis and Butthead's still funny.
But this question last week, the person who asked it showed up. She hadn't been around in a while, and it brought it back to the forefront of my brain. She's the lead singer of the band The Shadow Event. Her name is Christina. So after I ask it, you'll know who to blame. So you are a guest in a cartoon. Kind of like Scooby-Doo used to do, like Scooby-Doo meets Kiss.
Yeah.
What cartoon are you asked to be a guest on, and what character do they make you? Like, what are you?
Family Guy. Yeah, Family Guy or South Park. Oh God, that would have to be. uh, Family Guy, I would say. And then I think I'd become Butter's best friend or something.
Now, are you going to be a human, or are you going to be like Brian and be a dog?
I think I'm gonna be human. And it's gonna be a battle between who I'm better friends with, Brian or Butters. They're gonna
I feel like you might have.
They're gonna mesh South Park with Family Guy, and there's gonna be a tear between the two.
I feel like you've thought about this.
It's too clear. I'm like, okay, check it out. We're gonna split the two different series, and that's which one can they keep me on best? Sounds like I can monetize that somehow. What's up, Michael? Speaking of Pittsburgh, Michael just showed up on the screen here and said, "What's up?" He was my old bass player and just started picking up. Now he's going to be playing drums for me, and he used to play in Pittsburgh, play shows with me as well. And he was with me when we did the Smiling Moose show. So what's up?
I'm telling you so lucked out that you didn't have to go up those steps.
Yeah, with all the gear too. Is that how they went up there?
Oh,
that's terrible.
Like, I had a backpack with my camera stuff in it, and I struggled getting up there. I was like, I don't know how you carry an amp up here.
Right. That would be a pain in the ass. We do a lot of venues like that though as we travel around. Thankfully, a lot of them have elevators. We have a place here in Wilmington that I used to play at when I was a lot younger, and I think maybe some of the guys people that are on here have probably played at. The elevator breaks on you every once in a while, and it's level 5, so it's 5 levels of steps to climb up to get upstairs to the stage, and that sucks.
Well, at least it gets you part way up.
It doesn't do that, and it just completely stops working, and then you have to carry everything because it's rooftop bar.
So it doesn't take you like up the first 5, and you
no. It's 5 levels high, so it's
okay.
That's the rooftop. But when it doesn't work and you're booked, you're already there. You're downtown, so you've already usually gotten into a parking space. You just have to man up and just start loading everything up to the top.
Oh.
That's not a lot of fun at all. I've had to do it a couple different times. I think that's one of the reasons I stopped performing there years back. It was just nightmare when it was summertime and you're digging everything and going up. John Hodges, what's up, buddy? Yeah, don't forget me at the airport tomorrow in Denver.
So yeah. Are you playing a show in Denver?
I am, but not tomorrow. Is more Boulder area, north.
I'm kind of losing your audio for some reason.
It's
there you go.
A little bit further north, towards it's like Boulder, like near like Flatirons and all that kind of area. Little town. It's a town called Johnstown, right outside of Boulder. And then I have Denver the next night. And that is a place called the Ranch. And then I'll fly out and then I go to LA Friday. But John, don't forget me at the airport.
Yeah,
it's Colorado, right? They forget things there too.
I get what you're saying.
Okay, yeah.
I'm no, not gonna tell that.
I feel like you know too much and you're trying to like reserve it. Like
no. It was just I recently had to explain to my daughters what a smell was.
Oh.
And because they had never smelled it before. Which is good, and I'd like to keep it that way. But
how old are they?
12.
They're twins. I'm glad they don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wow, why would anybody want to do that? It smells so bad. I'm like, perfect. Keep that in your head.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
We were at a walking trail when somebody was somewhere. I didn't like it was in the air.
Right on.
But
yeah.
Just to clarify, I didn't take my daughters anywhere that they shouldn't have been. We were on a walking trail.
Okay. Hitting the peace pipe. They
No.
gotcha. Yeah.
Not at all. Taking photos of a band. And
on a walking trail?
yeah, it's called the Color Park. It's in the South Side, not too far from the Smiling Moose, actually. And there's an area of the trail where you are allowed to legally put graffiti on everything, and it's really cool there.
And there's a band playing.
No. I was taking promo shots of the band with the graffiti.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I didn't realize you did that as well.
Oh, I do lots of stuff. I help run a TV station now online.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I didn't do that the last time we talked.
No, you didn't. So I was kind of shocked to hear you to throw that one at me. So I was like, oh, okay. Let's go.
So, I do concert and promo shots. And I do the podcast and radio shows, and I have a radio station, and I help run a TV station, and there's possibly something else coming up at Music from the 412 that I'm not going to divulge yet. And hey, Davey, they can't see you where our chat is. You got to click on comments.
I got it. I'm going there right now to see. So it's, that's funny.
So those of you that are watching, if you're on Facebook or you're on Build a Scene's website, you can actually comment and it'll show up and we can see it on our screens while we're having our conversation, which is why you saw the comments from Hamilton and Mikey and John pop up.
Yeah. Cool.
So if you were sitting on a bench and your musical idol sat down next to you, turned to you and said, you can ask me one question, but only one. Who's sitting next to you and what are you asking?
Well, you're just full of all the questions, aren't you?
I mean, you were on here once. You should know what's
coming. Yeah, I knew it was coming. I would say I don't want to go as far as say, well, Paul McCartney. And I would ask him for some money.
Hey, that might work. I'm going to come sit with you.
Strawberry Fields forever.
Did you see that recently? He was reenacting the why am I blanking on the name of the cover? The one where they're walking across by in New York.
Road?
Yes, Abbey Road. And someone in an Uber almost hit him. Google it.
I gotta see that. It's funny.
All right. So if you could play with any band in the history of the world at any location, who are you playing with? And you can either be on stage with them, opening for them, they're opening for you, whatever scenario you want. Who are you playing with and where are you going to play?
John Hodges is going to love this answer. Firehouse and in the Virgin Islands. There's a big, long story about this one. This is good. This is good shit.
Did that happen?
Well, okay. So it turns out John, who's here, and the chat, he's probably not even saying anything because he's losing his mind right now that I brought that up. But a buddy of mine, my roommate, I lived in the Virgin Islands, and when I first moved there, a girl had walked up. There was Bud Light Girls, and John Hodges plays music as well, and he was playing a show with another guy off on a balcony. And a girl asked me, "Well, I swear I know you from somewhere. I know you." And I said, "No, you don't." My buddy sat beside me, said, "Well, what do you want me to do? You want me to get him to talk to you or something?" And she was like, "No, I mean, I just want to talk to him. And no matter what, I have them a Bud Light Girl. You can have these Bud Light hats." And he goes, "Listen, lady, what do you want me to do? Have him sign it for you?" And she goes, "I knew it. I knew he was famous or something." And my buddy turns around and goes, "You ever heard of a little band called Firehouse?" Not once did I ever, not ever once did I say anything about being in Firehouse or nothing being anybody. And the girl leaves and they go run over to John who's playing and they ask John, or they say, "Hey man, we got to get this guy up here. The guy from Firehouse is here, and he's going to come up and play some songs if I can get him to." So they come back to me, and John starts saying to the mic, "Yeah, all right, man. Well, hey, a guy from Firehouse is here. Why don't you come on over and play some songs?" I happen to know a few Firehouse licks myself. So, of course, I jump right in and I go with the "Baby, don't treat me bad," And it was so funny. If you were there, you'd fall out of your chair laughing. It's so funny because it's so obvious that I'm not the guy from Firehouse,
Right.
But this
right.
girl has no idea, and everybody's raging, screaming, and yelling because they think I really am the guy from Firehouse. So funny. Good time with that.
So what do you have coming up next besides Denver and
So I've got the
north of
Grammys.
Denver
It's
and
coming Sunday. So I've got the Grammys coming up Sunday, but I go into LA Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a lot of events that I have to attend by going. This year I'm not up for anything. I just was invited to go back. And then Monday, I think I'm Salt Lake City. Tuesday, I think I'm back in Denver. There's so many variables with what's happening. Literally, I've been dealing with it all day today, and then trying to figure out with John what he has going on. He kind of acts as my booking help as well over in Colorado. But other buddies in Salt Lake City. I love playing in Salt Lake City. I love playing in Colorado. I'm really trying to get everything locked up for Cheyenne, Wyoming. I've been working over there. I don't know anybody there. So anybody out there listening, if you do know anybody who has a venue or would like to have me, even if it's just for a small acoustic show, I'd love to jump on that. I'm looking for any dates or times that they would throw me within that wheelhouse between the 8th and the 10th. Love to get up to Cheyenne. I've been there a couple different times. It's just, I love the place. So cool. Some real old, it almost looks like your background. Yeah.
that's my neighbor's garage. And there's a story behind that, but that's not.
Is he from Wyoming?
No. It's closer to Leechburg Pizza Company than I am.
Oh, okay. That's funny. But yeah, that's basically what I have going on, and then I'm back to the studio finishing up some vocals. I finished up the music part for one of the singles that's coming out, and then going in to finish the vocals, and then going to head down to Mississippi, Alabama, and going to be doing some work over in the Muscle Shoals area, and then bouncing over to my buddy Steve Hardy, who I brought up before, that helped me do some engineering. Him and some other friends. Hopefully, we're going to have. I know Matt Scannell. We're going to have him try to take a listen to it. He's from Vertical Horizon. Have him take a listen to it, see if he'll help in any way by getting everything done. But before we say that all that's going to happen with Steve and Matt, just kind of keep your ears peeled. Some big things are in the works, and we're kind of moving right along. And hopefully by next year, I'll be able to go win some of these awards outside of just keep visiting all these nice places and performing. So,
real quick, I do want to mention for the people who are watching this on the web or Facebook or wherever, since it did not go live on the Roku and Fire TV, but it is live on the Music from the 412 website. It will be on the Roku and the Fire TV Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. So you can still watch it on Roku and Fire TV. Just you're going to watch it Memorex instead of live.
There you go.
But
there you have it.
So where can the listeners find you online? And besides the shows you just talk about, because clearly you want them to come to those, but where can they check you out online?
Yeah, all the different streaming sources. Obviously, you can download it through iTunes and all that. It's on basically everywhere you can find or anything. If you have Tidal, any of that stuff, it's everywhere, YouTube included, Spotify, Apple Music. I prefer you come see me in person if you have the ability to, because I think that sometimes that resonates a little better than just listening to the records. Not only that, we could probably have a drink or some Rumble together. Go Rumblemans.
He's going for a sponsorship there, maybe.
I am. What's up? Pick me up.
Hey, Davey, I want to thank you for hanging out with me again.
Absolutely.
And this is episode 656 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. I'm going to play an outro when it ends, wherever you're listening and watching. Stay there because you may find your next favorite unsigned and independent artist. Real quick, give a is your website, is it still up?
It's davywilliamson.com. But I found that nobody goes to it. The websites themselves, everybody's going through Facebook, Instagram. They can all follow me there. Instagram, it's Davy_Williamson. With Facebook, it's Davy Williamson. I mean, I've made it all super simple through any of the social media outlets as well. The easiest thing in the whole world to do is just go into Google, type Davy Williamson, and it gives you all the different buttons across the bottom. And that allows for you not only to see all the different interviews and the things that we've even done here, but also allows you to be able to link up with me on social media and all the different streaming services that are available.
Cool.
Hey,
so as I said, we're going to play the outro. There will be some more stuff on Music from the 412 that you can hang out and watch. If you're on one of the stations I mentioned at the beginning, keep listening. And we will see you next Monday for another live interview and Fridays for the actual podcast and radio show release date. And if you go to parockshow.com, it'll take you to the portion of Build the Scene that explains everything about this show. So for those of you that are new today, go check that out when we're done. My name is Bill, and once again, thank you for hanging out with us.
welcome.
This episode of the Pennsylvania Rock Show has ended, but be sure to subscribe to be introduced to more of the best on-sign rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. Don't forget to rate and review the show, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Clutch your souvenirs, but they won't erase all the damage you've done.